You have learned in your science subjects that chemistry is the study of matter. The study of matter, its properties, composition, and transformations. In other words, chemistry studies anything that we touch, feel, see, smell, or taste, from simple substances like water or salt to complex substances like proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids that combine to form the human body. So matter includes both living and non-living things, such as plants, animals, and rocks, as well as the things that cannot be seen, such as air and bacteria. Various kinds of matter are distinguished from each other by their properties. So when we say property, it is a distinguishing characteristic of a substance that is used in its identification and description. Each substance has a unique set of properties that distinguishes it from all the other substances. Matter is characterized by its physical or chemical properties. Physical property is a characteristic of a substance that can be observed or measured without changing the basic identity and composition of the substance. So there are common physical properties. It includes the color, odor, taste, physical state, solid, liquid, or gas, the density, the boiling point, the melting point, conductivity, and hardness. When we say chemical property, it is a characteristic of a substance that describes the way the substance interacts with other substances and may include reaction long period of time. Or it includes reaction with oxygen. So that is the process of oxidation. For example, a copper object turns green when exposed to moist air. And the green coating formed on the copper is a new substance that results from the copper's reaction with oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water present in air. The properties of the green coating are very different from those of metallic copper, and that is according to Stroker 2010. So, how can property of matter identify substances? You are already familiar with the most common physical properties of matter. Some of these properties, such as mass, volume, and depend upon the specific object in question. You cannot use mass to tell one substance from another because two different objects can have the same mass. For example, a kilogram of cotton has the same mass as a kilogram of sand. So, you cannot use that property to identify the substance. So, other properties such as density can be used to identify substances. The density of water is different from the density of ethyl alcohol. And moreover, density as a property of matter do not vary from one sample of the same substance to another. So the properties of matter that can help us identify substances are first, the density. So the density of the substance is defined as the total mass divided by its total volume. And the density of objects such as water, plastic, and iron are all different. An object has a high density if it is heavy and compact. Since scientists have already determined the densities of many substances, you can now compare the density of an unknown substance with the densities of the known substances. Thereby, it will give you information about the possible identity of the unknown substance. It is possible for two different substances to have the same density. So, in order to identify the substance positively, you would need additional data. Solubility. It means the ability of a substance to dissolve in a given amount of solvent, usually a liquid. For example, salt and flour have different solubility in water. If you put a spoonful of salt in a cup of water and stir, the salt dissolves in the water very rapidly. But if you put a spoonful of flour into water and stir, some of the flour settles to the bottom as soon as you stop stirring. Next, we have magnetic properties. So some substances are attracted to magnets, but others are not. So you can use a magnet to pick up a paper clip, but not a sand or wooden stick. The elements silver, iron, and gold are magnetic, meaning they respond to magnets, but copper, aluminum, and zinc are not. Thus, it identifies substances from the other. Next, we have the boiling point. The boiling point of a liquid is the temperature at which a liquid is converted into a gas. At the boiling point, the temperature of the liquid is the same as the escaping vapor or gas, although the boiling point does not vary slightly with the prevailing atmospheric pressure. So boiling point is one of the properties of matter that can be used to identify and characterize a substance since objects boil at different temperatures. We have electric properties. So some substances conduct electricity better than others. Metals, as we all know, are good conductors of electricity, exemplified by copper wire, which is used to carry electricity because it is a good conductor. Whereas non-metals are materials that do not conduct electricity easily, such as rubber and plastics. Thus, these are used to block the flow of charge. Scientists can test the electric conductivity of an unknown substance with the proper equipment. So we can identify metals from nonmetals since they have or they do not have these electric properties. And we have here the heating properties. So when substances are heated, they respond in a different ways. Some substances warm up very quickly and others take a long while to increase in temperature. So this property is very important in selecting materials for different uses. Metals such as aluminum and iron are good materials for making insulation or for making pots and pans because they conduct heat easily, while various materials used in household insulation are poor conductors of heat. These insulators are used to keep warm air inside a home on a cold day, and you cannot measure the rate at which a substance conducts heat and compare that rate with the heat conduction rates of other substances. So, the heating property can be used to measure the rate at which a substance conducts heat and compare that rate with the heat conduction rates of other substances. So, those are the properties of substances that can help us identify a certain substance from the other.